Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. It is Therapy Thursday, and it's time again for Transforming Trauma with Dr. Triphi. I know it's been a little bit of a while since I showed up on a Thursday at this time. I have been traveling. I have been home to Dominica. I have been offered the beautiful opportunity to send my dad off to wherever it is we go, hmm, when we leave this body. So I am happy to be back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I decided tonight to share a book with you, a book that has, in many ways, helped me transform and change. Yeah, next week. What is next week over here? Next week is Thanksgiving week. And for me, every year when it gets to be about Thanksgiving, I realize it's only about 4 weeks before Christmas. And it's like, hey, the new year is upon us. And it starts feeling like reflection time for me. For you, I offer this Thursday podcast because I understand that therapy can be expensive. I think therapy can be scary for some people, anxiety provoking for some people, and it can be hard to access. So, my goal in showing up on Thursdays is to offer tips, strategies, resources to help you care for yourself. Yes? So, I came upon this book in my early 30s. I was ending a relationship, divorcing, and having to figure things out on many levels. And this little book came to my rescue. It didn't look like that then. It looked yellow. It was a different cover. Yeah. So this little book, You Can Heal Your Life, was first published in 1984. In 1984. Gosh, I was what? I was a teenager in 1984. But yes, so I came upon the book and it absolutely taught me to think about myself and to think about life and to think about relationships and to think about people in a very different way. And I hope that tonight, by the end of the night, that you will get a couple resources and that maybe you will be motivated, inspired to get the book yourself. Do some reading as life slows down a little bit over the holidays. Okay? All right. So this book was written and published, written by Louise Hay. Louise Hay, when she was 55. When she was 55. And over 50 million copies of this book have sold. Over 50 million. To me, that says a lot. Yeah, to me, that says a lot. So Louise founded Hay House Publishing. She actually went on to form her own publishing company in the mid 1980s. She's not with us anymore. She was born, I want to say, 1926 and died in 2017 at the ripe old age of 90 years old. Yeah. So as you listen to me talk about the book, I'm going to start off with a couple of criticisms right off the bat that people have about the book. So number one, some people, and you'll understand more as I talk about the book, some people have accused the author of blaming the victim, as in putting the responsibility of an illness on the victim. That's one. And another one is the book is a bit metaphysical in nature. And what tends to happen with books like that is people are like, well, that's not from the Bible. That's not biblical. That's a little woo woo. That's a little woo. That's a little bit out there for me. And to that, I invite you to listen and make your own judgments. Yeah. So for me as a psychologist, because I also come from uh, what would I say? A tradition of ensuring that the work that you base your therapy in is evidence based. I kind of read the book with a grain of salt, but I have come to understand, and I think also because I grew up in Dominica, not to be confused with the Dominican Republic, we're further south, we speak English and French, Creole, and they speak Spanish, they're further north. I grew up on an island where your parents would tell you, if you're sick with whatever it was, go pick this bush. Yeah, let me do XYZ with it, and you would get healed. So I understand that just because there is no evidence, mhm, it doesn't necessarily mean that a particular modality is not helpful. So, caveat is done with. I'm going to tell you a few beautiful things about the book from my perspective. First off, it's an easy read, very clearly written in very simple language. Yeah, it's the type of book you can pick up, and it's divided into sections. And so you can choose what section you're going to read today, or you could read the entire book. You just sit and get lost in the book. Yeah, Louise explains her philosophy in the beginning of the book about health, about disease, and about the links between our thoughts, our thought patterns, our belief systems, and illness and disease. And that's my biggest point today. That's my biggest point today. Part two of the book kind of works like a session with her. So she's moving through the book as if you came to her for a session, for a healing session, where she looks at the problem, right? What is the problem? And tells you what you can do about the problem to help yourself. Yeah. The third section talks about putting the ideas to work. And in the final part of the book, she shares her own story, which is full of trauma, full of physical abuse, sexual abuse. Yeah. And Louise was also diagnosed with cancer in about 1977, 78. And she believes that she became ill, diseased, because she was holding on to resentment from some of that abuse from her childhood. She also talks about how she put herself on a regimen that included many of these techniques that she's discussing in the book. And would you know that I want to say that without regular, yeah, medical treatment, she put herself on a regimen and her cancer disappeared. Yeah. So I'm not going to say that that's what caused it, right? That's what healed her, but her cancer disappeared. All right. So the main message of the book is that we can heal our lives. Why? Because our thoughts create our lives. What we think about ourselves, what things become our reality. And what we think often, yeah, what we think habitually creates illness or wellness, joy or sorrow. Therefore, her argument and her teaching is based on the idea that we create our health. And Havis might say we create our wealth as well. Yep. Louise says that introspection, that word came up a lot on my page today on Facebook. Silence. Silence. Taking time with ourselves. Introspection leads to self understanding, leads to learning keys to our personal power and our ability to heal ourselves. And so, following that logic, following her logic, we can then now, number one, choose what we think. Choose what we think so that we can create a healthy and a new reality. All right. I want to get into the book a little bit, right? Okay. Stay with me. This is the new version, like I said. Elvon, good evening. This is Louise's. I highlighted some things I want to share with you, of course. So Louise's dedication is there. She says, may this offering help you find the place within where you know your own self worth, the part of you that is pure love and self acceptance. As I say that, I think a lot of us at a surface level, we think we love ourselves. Yeah, I love myself. Yeah, I love myself. But then if we got quiet and started listening to the things we're saying to ourselves, somebody might argue with us. Yeah? Okay, so she suggests this about how you read the book. She says, read the book once. Yeah? Then slowly read the book again. Only this time, do each exercise in depth. Give yourself time to work with each one. Yeah. If you can work with a friend or somebody else who loves you, or another member of the family, she suggests that. And she says that each chapter begins with an affirmation. Now, I talk about affirmations a lot. What's an affirmation? An affirmation really is a simple, short sentence, usually said in the present tense and in the positive, in a positive voice, positive tone. Yeah. That is meant to change something that you believe. Yeah. Establish a new idea in your mind. And you repeat, repeat, repeat that affirmation until that new thought becomes your default. It becomes your go-to. So it's sort of like in a computer program where you're overriding the old programming. Yeah. So you can get new results. Okay. So Louise says that she closes each chapter with a treatment. Mhm. And she finally closes the book by sharing her own story. Okay, here's her main philosophy. Number one, we are all responsible. We are each of us responsible for all of our experiences. Oh, can I say that again? We are each responsible for all of our experiences. We are each, I am responsible for everything I'm experiencing. On some level, I am. I want you to think about that because it becomes harder to accept that when the thing I'm experiencing is painful. Yes or no? Hmm? Here's another of her ideas. Every thought we think is creating our future. Every thought we think is creating our future. Every thought. Question is, how often are you paying attention to what you're thinking so that you can be more uh, focused on what you're creating in your future based on these thoughts? The point of power is always in the present moment, meaning you are strongest now, not in your imagination tomorrow, what you'll be doing tomorrow. Your power is now. Everyone, she says, on some level and at different times, suffers from self hatred and guilt. Would you agree with this? Would you agree with this? She says also that we create every so called illness in our body. Now, before I leave tonight, I'm going to share some illnesses and her explanation for what kinds of thoughts might have led you to be experiencing some disease, some illness. Okay? All right. What she believes is that life is very simple. What we give is what we get back. What I give out is what I get back. What do you think about that? Because I think some of us would say, well, I give good. I do very good. things for people and they don't treat me well in return? Hmm? You would read that chapter, do the exercises, answer the questions, work through it, and see what you get out of it. Yeah. She says that the universal power, some people might call that power God, the universal power never judges us or criticizes us. It only accepts us at our own value. What do you think about that? Because many of us grew up in belief systems that say, yes, if you do this bad thing, such and such is going to punish you. She's saying that universal power never judges or criticizes us. Hmm? She also says that when we are very little, we learn how to feel about ourselves and our lives by the reactions of the adults around us. I firmly believe this one. I firmly believe this one. We learn how to feel and think about ourselves based on what people around us, the people who were grooming us, teaching us, showing us, shaping us, they taught us how to feel and think about ourselves. And when you become an adult, your job is to become introspective about that stuff and decide which of those beliefs about yourself will you move forward in life with. Which of these are you going to leave behind because they're not working in your life or they're not good for you? Yeah, they don't add to your feeling of self-worth or your feeling strong or capable. All disease, Louise says, comes from a state of unforgiveness. She says, whenever we are ill, we need to search our hearts to see who it is we need to forgive. So I'm going to share a little piece of my story with doing that kind of work. I was diagnosed with cancer in 2010. It was at a stage 0. I didn't know there was such a thing, but it was at a stage 0. And because I was aware of this kind of work, I did some of that kind of stuff, which was to go back, get quiet, and figure out, well, what is this about? You're a pretty healthy person. Why is this forming in your body? Why is your body turning against you? Essentially, is how I felt. It was a very terrifying experience. And I journaled a lot. I wrote a lot. And I want to say I have to agree with her. For me, I did a lot of introspection and changed my diet, a lot of meditation work, and it went away with medical support. I didn't do like Louise and do, she rejected conventional treatment. I went with conventional treatment, but it went away. But the experience taught me a lot about myself because I used that experience to go back into my files, my memory files, to see where I might have been holding on to things, to bad experiences that had happened, and coming to new beliefs about myself, making new decisions about myself. Yeah. Yes. So invitation. Is there illness in your body? Is there dis-ease in your body that might be an invitation for you to review, think about belief systems you might be holding, that might be contributing in some way to the illness? Okay. So I want to talk about now, for me, the most fascinating thing is the connection between thoughts and disease. Shahara, Reverend Stevens is saying mind-body connection is a real thing. And my experience is yes. My personal experience is yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so she wrote a book before this one. This one is You Can Heal Your Life. Yeah. But she wrote a book before this one where she alphabetized almost every possible illness and gave you and gives you perhaps the probable cause, right? The probable cause on a thought level for that illness. I'm going to share some with you. So, number one, addictions. So, if you're suffering from an addiction of any sort, addicted to whatever, yeah, drugs, food, sex, whatever it is, addictions, she's asking you to think about a probable cause. Running from the self. Are you running from yourself? Fear. Are you afraid? And you can figure out, when you get quiet, what am I afraid of? Not knowing how to love the self. Again, we learn how to take care of ourselves, to think about ourselves by the people who raise us. Yes? If you grow up in a family where they're calling you names and telling you you're not lovable, versus if you grow up in a family where they're encouraging you and supporting you and teaching you that you're valuable, is that not going to change how you think about yourself? Yeah? So, if you're addicted to anything, get quiet, she suggests, and ask yourself, hmm? Now, what can you do? There's always a fix. Yeah? So, her suggestion is to create a new thought pattern using what? Using affirmations. Yeah? That you might repeat, repeat, repeat as the day goes along, that you might stand in front of a mirror. Yeah? And say to yourself, how many of you do this or have done this in your life? And you might say, I now discover how wonderful I am. Here's an invitation. Again, you're an adult. You're in an adult body, but you were a child. You were a child. You were a child who was being shaped by people around you. Some of us did not have parents with parental skills that were good for much. Yeah. So you might, as the adult, have to return in quiet introspection, yeah, to help that child create new thought patterns, new beliefs about the child, who is now an adult. Does that make sense? All right. You might also say, I choose to love and enjoy myself. Okay, so an affirmation is stated in the present tense, I choose, and in the positive, I choose to love and enjoy myself. In the positive versus the negative. So you might, if you said it in the negative way, you might say, I don't do drugs anymore. Yeah, you hear the don't is a negative word. So restate it. Yeah, restate it into something like, I choose to love and enjoy myself. Okay, here's another one. Addictions, I'm going to alcoholism. Alcoholism, she says, a probable cause of alcoholism is an underlying um, belief system that goes something like this. What's the use? What's the use? Self-rejection. Self-rejection. Feeling guilty or inadequate. Feeling guilty or inadequate. And the truth is, when you get quiet, as an adult, as the adult, when you get quiet and you do the little work, yes, a little quiet time, ask yourself the question and then create a new affirmation, which might sound something like, I live in the now. Each moment is new. I choose to see my self-worth. I love that word choose because that's what it is. You choose, you have the power to choose And since you have the power to choose, why not choose in your best interest? Hmm. Okay, allergies. If you're suffering from allergies, Louise says, ask yourself, yeah, get quiet and ask yourself, who am I allergic to in my life? My spouse, my child, my supervisor? Who am I allergic to? Why am I having this flare up? Hmm? Perhaps also you might be denying your own power, she suggests. And so she offers an affirmation for that. The world is safe and friendly. If the world is safe and friendly, I'm not allergic. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm safe. I'm okay. I'm protected. I'm at peace. I'm safe and I am at peace with life. Okay. If you're suffering from anemia, she says, you might be walking around this life with a yes, but those people where they're like, yes, I want to do that, but how will I? But it's too expensive. Yes, I like them, but I don't like yes, but yes, butters. You might be experiencing a lack of joy, fear of life, and not feeling good enough. And an affirmation or a few affirmations you might use are, I love life. It is safe for me to experience joy in every area of my life. Okay, here's another one. I'm going to the B's now. She's alphabetized that. Just a whole list of diseases, yeah, illnesses. So one is baldness. So B, baldness. She suggests that baldness is connected to tension and trying to control everything and not trusting the process of life. And an affirmation for that, I am safe. I love and approve of myself. I trust life. I am safe. I see a recurring theme in this work, yeah, in this book, as the root cause of many diseases. So themes that come up often are rage, anger, unprocessed anger, and fear. Fear, yeah, expecting the worst, like kind of walking around through life, like, waiting for the other shoe to drop, that kind of feeling. And so affirmations where you're soothing yourself, where you're teaching the child in you that it's okay. Hey, I'm an adult now. We know how to care for ourselves. You're not the child anymore. The problem is many of us, again, the child part of us is stuck in the adult body. That's what I mean when I say adult must rescue child. And you can rescue the child with affirmations. Okay? Blackheads. Blackheads. If you're having just the time of your life with blackheads, Louise says blackheads point to small outbursts of anger. And you can create an affirmation like, I calm my thoughts and I am serene. Okay, I'm choosing one with C. If you're suffering from colitis, colitis is connected to the colon and intestines and um, stuff like that. Yeah. If you're suffering from colitis, she says perhaps you're suffering from insecurity. And that represents the ease of letting go of that which is over. So you might be holding on and having a hard time letting go of something or some things. And if you get quiet and think about it, you might be able to put your finger on what that is. Yeah. And that it's not just the physical illness, that if you're experiencing any physical illness, get quiet to see if there might be a mental connection. And so an affirmation could be, she says, I am part of the perfect rhythm and flow of life. All is in divine right order. Even though you're suffering today, even though you're suffering today, you start the affirmation today. Hmm? Okay. D, diabetes, diabetes, diabetes. She says diabetes could be connected to longing for what might have been. What you call that time? Gopuel and Chagouin in Dominica. You know, a great need to control, deep sorrow, and one that I myself have found myself asking clients over these years is, she says, it's about having no sweetness left in your life. So that's the question I ask people about sweetness when they have when they're suffering from diabetes. Yeah. And often a person will be able to, when they're quiet, connect to the loss, connect to the, where life feels hard, and where there's no pleasure in life anymore. Work, 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 work. I had to give up XYZ. This is too much. I feel overwhelmed. It's just so much. Yeah. So she suggests as an affirmation, this moment is filled with joy, remembering that this moment is where your power always is. Forget about yesterday and tomorrow. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow might never show up. So I have this breath now. What am I doing with it? What am I telling myself in this moment? And if I'm always holding that state of awareness where I'm paying attention, I'm checking myself, yeah, moment to moment to moment to moment, I am on purpose creating a life that's going to feel better for me. Yeah. So let's go now to an E, an E illness. An E illness, eczema. You suffering from eczema? Louise says eczema is about mental eruptions. Yeah. Breathtaking antagonism, like just, yeah. And you might create an affirmation that is soothing, like, I am safe and secure. Or harmony and peace, love and joy surround me and dwell within me. Let's go for an F disease. F disease. An F disease, like fibroids, fibroids, fibroid tumors and cysts, she says, might be connected to nursing a hurt from a partner, nursing a hurt from a partner, or a blow to the feminine ego, a blow to the feminine ego. And as an affirmation, you might say, I release the pattern in me that attracted this experience. Now, that's a beautiful affirmation. I release the pattern in me, remembering that I'm creating my reality. Yeah. So if I'm creating experiences on the external that are not what I want, yeah, I can change what I'm telling myself. Yes. She says, I create only good in my life. I like that one. Short and easy. I create only good in my life. I create only good in my life. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Yeah. Repeat, state it in the present tense and in the positive. Okay. One with G, gallstones. Gallstones, she says, might be connected to bitterness, hard thoughts, pride, bitterness, hard thoughts, pride. And you might create an affirmation like, life is sweet and so am I, even though you're not feeling it today. You're creating an affirmation that will override whatever programming that might have been put into you as a kid by whomever it was who raised you, or based on whatever experience you went through, and you made some kind of decision about yourself, yes, you rewire that brain essentially. Okay. Um, pimples like blackheads, she says, are about small bursts of anger. It's an eruption, isn't it? Like, so, okay, why is my face erupting? Okay, what am I angry about? Get quiet. What am I angry about that I haven't spoken about, that I haven't acknowledged, that I haven't addressed? Yes? And then create an affirmation. I am at peace. I am calm and relaxed. All is well. Okay, here's one with R. This is interesting. The right side of your body, she suggests, is connected to your masculine energy. Yeah. And so if you're having difficulty on the right side of your body, like pain, stiffness, she says it's about giving out. Uh, it's about your masculine energy. It's about letting go. And your masculine energy might be out of alignment. And so an affirmation could be, I balance my masculine energy easily and effortlessly. And so your left is your feminine energy. If you're having pain on that side of your body, distress on that side of your body, create an affirmation. My feminine energy is well balanced. All is well. I am calm and relaxed. Yeah. Here's one for stiff neck. This one, yes, this one. Um, if you suffer from a stiff neck often, or if you're experiencing a stiff neck, she suggests that it's about unbending bullheadedness. Yeah, like you're just my way or the highway. And that you can use an affirmation like, it is safe to see other viewpoints. Me, when I get a stiff neck, what I say is, who or what in my life is being a pain in the neck? And often I can find who's being a pain in my neck. You understand? And talk about it or express it. And all right. If you're having trouble in your throat or with your throat is your avenue of, that's where your voice box is, right? Vocal cords. So it's about expression and creativity. So she suggests that it might be about an inability to speak up for yourself, or swallowed anger, or stifled creativity, or refusal to change. And as an affirmation, you might say, it's okay to make noise. This right here, I want to encourage people to, use their throats a little more. Make noise. Yeah. Make good trouble. Make good trouble when you're supposed to, on your behalf, on behalf of people who are weaker than you. Yeah. Make good trouble. Okay. Next one. If you are having trouble with vertigo, I chose that one because I have trouble with vertigo sometimes. And I'll tell you when that vertigo started. She says to look for dizziness. So my son was getting ready to go off to school. And all of a sudden, I found myself driving and having to pull over on the side of the road because I just felt dizzy, lightheaded all of a sudden. And I asked myself, well, I ate, I'm fine. What's going on? And I went to the doctor, and the doctor checked everything. Blood pressure is fine, sugar, everything is fine. And she said, okay, um, what's going on in your life? Did anybody, are you stressed out for any reason? I said, my son just went off to school. And I started crying. She said, bing, that's what the vertigo was about. That is what the vertigo was about. So Louise, she aligns vertigo to dizziness, and she says it's about flighty, scattered thinking and a refusal to look, like a refusal to see the reality. Yeah, not wanting to accept reality. And an affirmation I can use is I am deeply centered and peaceful in life. It is safe for me to be alive. It is safe for me to be joyous. Hmm? So the point is that, according to Louise Hay, if I keep repeating an affirmation like it is safe for me to be alive and joyous, whatever anxiety flares up when I think about my kids leaving or whatever it is that distresses me, I can rewire, reprogram my thinking to where that vertigo will leave me. Okay? Okay, I'm going to choose a last one for you. And I'm going to encourage you strongly to get the book and keep the book. Get the book, keep the book, get the book, work through the book, do the exercises in the book, get the book for yourself and your spouse. You all might be fighting, but you might be this all of the stuff you're fighting about, childhood stuff that you need to deal with and they need to deal with. Okay, heartburn. Heartburn, she says, is about fear, 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 clutching fear. Yeah. And an affirmation you might make is I breathe freely and fully. I am safe. I trust the process of life. Again, that theme of safety, reminding ourselves that we are safe. We are safe. We are safe. We are safe. It is okay. And again, you'll think about it. It makes sense. How many of us did not know, didn't have a way to deal with stressful events that based on those events, we made certain decisions about ourselves as kids. So when did you change that negative thought you developed or you created as a child? When? Did you go to therapy? Did you even know that you were holding that negative thought about yourself? It is time to it is time to get quiet and figure it out. Yes, it is time to. That's what Louise is suggesting in this book that has sold over 50 million copies all over the world. All over the world. There's something that there's an exercise that I wanted to share with you tonight about relationships. It's about how we look at each other. I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about just relationships with people. She said she offers an exercise called us versus them. And I think today, now, 2023, with social media, with people afraid to speak because other people don't want to hear different thoughts, with us being very quick to criticize and diss other people. They're over there, I'm over here. That exercise caught my attention today. So again, the exercise is called us versus them. And she suggests this. She says, look for a moment at someone in your life who bothers you, they irritate you, or you feel irritated when you think about them or when you're around them. Describe 3 things about this person that you don't like. 3 things that you don't like. Things that you want them to change. 3 things you want them to change. I want them to stop talking bad about my party. I want them to stop posting their pretty pictures, whatever it is. Okay? Now look deeply inside of you and ask yourself, where am I like that? Where am I like that other person? And when do I do the same things? Think about when you're driving in traffic and somebody stops just suddenly in front of you and you go to speaking in Spanish at them, right? Yelling, screaming, ready to. How many times have you been the one who had to brake suddenly? And you were like, oh, sorry. Yeah. Close your eyes and give yourself the time to do this. Then ask yourself if you are willing to change. Ask yourself if you are willing to change. When you remove these patterns, habits, and beliefs from your thinking and behavior, either the other person will change or he or she will live your life. Leave your life. That's what Louise says. So the power is always with me. The power is always with me. If I can do an exercise like that, then I can ease up on that other person. Our relationship is going to change because I just eased up on them. I'm not being as critical of them. Hmm? This is my offering for the night. This is all I'm offering you tonight. So the book is called You Can Heal Your Life. And it's talking about healing yourself emotionally, mentally, and also physically by paying attention to your thought patterns that might be contributing to your physical ailment. Okay? Let's see who was with me tonight. Pat says she is listening as usual and sometimes making no comments. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you who do that. Thank you all for listening. Elvon, my brother, I met Elvon in Dominica when I went home 2 weeks ago. Nice meeting you. My sister Shahira, mind body connection is a real thing. And Shahira teaches on this very often. Yeah. And she also shares about her personal experience, like Louise. Yeah. It makes a difference when you understand and when you're willing to pay attention. I think it's about learning yourself as well. Learning yourself. Hmm? Shahara says the diseases that plague us, like diabetes and high blood pressure. High blood pressure. So when you think about high blood pressure, that's about unexpressed rage and just being in a state of eruption, yeah, but not necessarily feeling like you can talk about your stresses, about your pain, yeah. So in our community, those diseases are rampant, yeah. A lot of Black folks will not talk about feeling depressed, but they will tell you, my pressure is high. Hmm? So, how about we change the statements that we're using to describe ourselves, to talk about ourselves, hmm, and other people? One of the things that Louise talks about in this book is that the fact that we are all one, y'all. We are all one. I was talking to my son about this, and we were, in my mind, we are like pieces of one thing. Hmm? Pieces of one thing, whatever that one thing is. I don't know. But I'm you and you are me on a different day. Like, that example of driving in traffic, where if I'm the one who suddenly breaks, I want you to feel compassion for me and to forgive me. But if you do it tomorrow, I might want to lose my mind. No, I am you, you are me on a different day with a different set of circumstances. Yeah, different family, different job. But yeah. So I want to encourage you to get a copy of the book, any version. This is the most recent version. And Louise has several other books. I mean, so many other books. She's got CD programs and DVDs and card decks and all about affirmations, all about healing yourself. Yeah. And like I said, I know that some people don't have access to therapy services and life changing, transformational services, but there are many books out there. And I recommend this one because it stood the test of time, hasn't it? Yeah, 1984 to now. What was the most recent printing? So, first printed in 1984 and then 2004 again. Okay, just get yourself a copy, get somebody you love a copy for Christmas. Hmm? Create the life you want. Create the life you want. There are some things some people don't necessarily feel comfortable sharing, even with a therapist. But you can look through this and see, hey, maybe, yeah. And she offers nice structure for how to do the exercises. They're not long. Yeah, you can sit for 5 minutes, close your eyes, and completely work through an issue. Okay, so thank you all for showing up tonight. Next week it's Thanksgiving Thursday, so I won't be doing a podcast. But next Friday, for those people from Dominica, I'm doing a diaspora story with Dr. Dale Dangleben. Very accomplished, very involved Dominican, and I want to hear his success story. Yeah? I want to hear his diaspora story because being an immigrant, that immigrant experience is no joke. It's no joke, and it's quite something, when you get to the other side of that journey. So I hope you'll tune in next Friday. Your stomachs will be nice and rammed and stuffed with turkey. I'm looking forward to a little turkey this year. And I hope you will share the Friday night with us. Okay, we'll be on here at 7 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Dominica time. All right, y'all. I hope you'll have a lovely evening. Sandra wants me to pin the name of the book. I will do that. In the meantime, I'll let you see it. It's written by Louise Hay. Louise was born in 1926, I want to say, and she eventually, at the ripe old age of 90 years old, passed away in 2017. So the name of the book is You Can Heal Your Life. You can heal your life. And for me, one of the most practical parts of the book is what she calls the list. Can you see that? The list of alphabetized illnesses and what the potential mental link could be. And, I mean, what's the harm? What's the harm? Okay? All right. Happy Thursday. See you next Friday. Peace.